Well, boys, just as I thought we were out of the woods with this, talking about cricket on the Football podcast, the cricket world has thrown up a topic that has literally got everyone talking. And frankly, it's only been going for 48 hours, and it's already bored me to death. I guess before we move on to the footy stuff, I need to get everyone's opinion on this because I don't know about you guys, but I think this is starting to get blown out of proportion. What do you guys think? Just to be clear, for those listening, we're talking about the ball tampering issue with Cameron BANNED-CROFT, Steve Smith, and now David Warner, it seems. That story's kind of like...
It's up to anyone at the moment. There's rumours, there's reports coming out left, right and centre that Warner thrown the bowlers under the bridge. Thrown them on the bridge? I don't know. Up the bus.
We're rusty. We're rusty tonight.
You stand that bridge.
Goddamn trolls.
There's rumours of that. There's rumours of Warner gone off rogue. You don't know who to believe. But I think they're holding a press conference probably an hour or two after this, probably after this finishes, so like 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, about like James Sutherland and things like Cricket Australia having a big conference.
I think he's just got
actually happened.
Sutherland just got to South Africa or something.
They've sent a guy over. They didn't send Sutherland. He sent like the investigator guy.
Him and Pat Howard flew over.
That's the guy,
last
Pat
night,
Howard.
I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pat Howard went first.
So Louis and
like,
Jesse, I know you guys have got some strong thoughts on how the public have viewed this whole saga. So what do you boys think?
Well, I was going to say my first reaction to it when it came out that there's ball tampering allegations were that's bad. But, I mean, it's happened to other teams in the past, and I feel like the fallout wasn't anywhere near as now what it's escalated to be. And the way they're talking about these guys who, for just using sandpaper or equivalent on the ball to make it rougher so that they can... Is the idea that they roughed up the ball so they could get a new one? Is that
the idea? So you rough up one side of the ball,
and it
reverse swings. Yeah.
I thought it was because the players said that they couldn't get that current ball to reverse swing, that they tried to scuff it up so much that the umpires would change the ball.
I heard they were either trying to get it to the point where it would swing or that the umpires would go, get a new ball. So it's like they're aiming for both. That's the way I heard it.
I guess that's not... That detail isn't so important. I guess the idea is, I just think the advantage that these guys would have gotten is pretty negligible, and I definitely think it was a stupid thing to do, and they should face the consequences. But at the same time, they're being talked about like they're drug cheats. Like so many self-indulgent, annoying people have been writing in online saying they're a disgrace. They're embarrassed to talk to their kids about what's happening, which is maybe fair enough, but as I said, if you replace the word ball tampering with drug cheats, it would seem a lot more applicable to the situation. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it just shows how important Australia are. Not important, well, important, yes, but how big Australia are in the world of cricket. I mean, we are probably the major team, I'd assume. If you took Australia out of cricket, I think you'd lose probably 50-60% of people that watch the game from every kind of country. But I think the issue is that we've kind of... as it's come out over the sledging incidents and things recently, how we've been the team the moral team in terms of we create the line or we decide where the line is and things like that. And I think that's where a lot of people have now sunk the boots in pretty recently. But I think in terms of Australia, I mean, the Prime Minister coming out and saying it's disgrace and things have to happen. And it was actually over in the UK. It's actually the leading story on BBC News last night as well, which is interesting enough, but. It just shows in Australia how we think of cricket, how cricket kind of like underlines our entire culture. And so I think that's why people are most disappointed about this, even though there's ball tampering that's been going on for decades and decades and decades in terms of getting the ball to reverse swing. But it's just because it's so damn blatant and on TV that's now been such a massive deal. And people are talking about year-long bans for Steve Smith and year-long bans for such and such. And like Faf du Plessis had the issue with the zipper and the issue with the mint. And I think he didn't even get one. He didn't get one tested. I don't think. And plus, I'm this. But in the ICC rules, after the sandbag incident, the umpires looked at the ball consistently from that, and they didn't replace it. And the issue, the one charge from ball tampering is a 5-run penalty.
Is that right?
And demerit point or 2 demerit points to the players. So the fact that this is just going, year-long bans, and Steve Smith's probably going to lose his... Has he lost his captaincy? I think
he's stood down
for the next test anyway. Yeah. He stood down. Dave Warner's probably gone. Lehman's probably gone. All for, this stupid act, which like I don't know how you could possibly try and be so dumb to get away with the yellow piece of like sandpaper in your pocket.
I think Australians have kind of deluded themselves into thinking that it's an anti-Australian or un-Australian to cheat, or anyone that cheats is un-Australian. But as you said the other day, like we've had a cheating scandal in every major league code in the last, was it 5 years?
Something like that,
Yeah, and I think that's why people haven't really taken to this well. And I also made the point the other day, I also think it reflects how unlikable the Australian team is at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think everyone was sort of waiting for a chance to sink the boot in, like Louis said.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a chance for them to do that. Obviously, the major issue it's not the act of ball tampering itself, it's more the issue of the leadership supposedly telling Bancroft to tamper with the ball. I don't know, I think more's going to come out about this. I just can't fathom that they had a meeting in lunch and they said, what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of yellow tape out and we're going to scratch the ball. It just seems so far-fetched to me that they would do that. So I think more's going to come out. I think, I saw Moses Enriquez come out and say he thinks Smith is protecting Bancroft or protecting someone. I think there is a chance that is happening.
There's all this talk about making Smith to seem like a hero in this situation. Like maybe a lot of things peddled out by the Cricket Australia, where good boy Steve Smith, supporting all those players, protecting him. They'll probably throw Dave Warner under the bridge, and then Dave Warner kick him out. Get maybe, I don't know, a few sanctions for Bancroft and things, and maybe Smith will come back in like whenever he's served his ban or whatever, and he'll be the hero risen again at going through adversity, and they're trying to make him the good. Good story out of all this, so he can come back because he's Steve Smith. True. I mean, there's articles written about him being the next Bradman and things.
Yeah,
he's a big selling point.
They're definitely playing funny buggers, aren't they? We're not really getting a straight story. Bancroft is kind of saying that the leadership group sort of manipulated him to do it, I guess, and then Smith's saying that as well, but that certain members aren't involved, and then now it's coming out that Warner was the ringleader. Like, it's just not really adding up.
I mean, I don't know if we'll know. I don't know if they'll announce what happened tonight, if they will, if that's what's going to happen, or if it's just going to come out in autobiographies in like 10 years' time.
For me, problems just follow Warner around everywhere he goes. Yeah. Like, this is not me having a crack at the guy because I think he's gone. I obviously don't know him, but the amount of issues that follow that guy, I mean, he's got to be on thin ice, surely.
That's what. Yeah, I mean, a lot of reports are coming out now about him being like a ringleader or suggesting it, and him out and going rogue at the moment. He's out on the outer and he's drinking by himself in hotel rooms and things like this. But I don't know if that's some kind of directive again to throw Dave Warner out.
That's true.
And just change.
So more to come. We might have to continue on with this one on the next podcast.
What do you guys think before we move on to the footy? What's that?
I was going to say something, but all right, don't worry. I was sitting there for like 10 minutes with a point to make, and I didn't get a bloody chance to say it.
Well, all right, moving on.
No, make it.
I was just going to say, because I was reading an article, it was literally in the 05 Ashes, there was a guy that played for the English team. I don't remember his name.
Just Gothic. I think it was. Did you think of it?
It was like he had a long, weird name, but he literally came out and blatantly admitted that they tampered with the ball in the 05 Ashes and they reckon it made a difference. And there was English people that were commenting saying, "You're a hero for doing this, for getting the Ashes and stuff."
OBEs from the
compared to Aussies that are condemning these guys for doing something that everyone does.
For years and years. I mean, the only the Pakistanis and stuff back in the day were getting killer reverse swing, and that was
Afridi was biting the ball.
Afridi, or it's Tendulkar, like the Indian teams, the early 2000s, I think, wanted to leave a series, I think, in South Africa because the match referee suggested Tendulkar get banned for 3 games for picking at the seams. And then they said they cried racism, and then...
Oh, really? What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise. But, like, things like Akram stuff is said without bottle caps and things like literally roughing up one side of the ball, then it wouldn't have happened. It's been gone on.
Everyone does it.
Smith was very naive in coming out and straight away saying, yeah, we're guilty.
Yeah.
The leadership did it.
That's very true.
I know it's good to be honest, but he almost would have been better off just denying it.
Yeah.
It's true. So it's one of those ones as well. They were a little nonchalant about it. It felt a little when they came out and said it. Like, we did this.
That's definitely true.
That's probably why people are a bit annoyed at him. So they're a bit nonchalant.
A lot of people saying that, that they think that they didn't actually realise the severity and they thought it would just be a slap on the wrist and get on with it.
Which is kind of fair enough because looking at the history of ball tampering allegations, they rarely amount to any of the drama that we've seen. In fact, I'd say never. And as I said before, the actual benefit you extract from tampering the ball, it helps a little bit. It's not going to guarantee a wicket. You know what I mean? It's different to systematic drug doping. Like I used that example before.
Match fixing.
Salary cap. Match fixing. They're being talked about like they're match fixing.
Ridiculous.
Anyway, boys, let's get on to what this podcast is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Queer
Star Wars.
Star Wars and Queer Eye.
We had round 1 on the weekend and there was some really good games actually in round 1. I thought the opener was really good. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was a pretty close game for most of the game.
Yeah, it was. I think I, in particular, was quite surprised at how Carlton pushed them. I can't remember. They got pretty close, I think, in the third quarter, and then Richmond kind of kicked away. Just had that.
I'm going to big note myself here quickly. In our little tipping competition, we got to pick the margin for the first game, and I said Richmond 25 was 26.
Actually, yeah. To be fair, you in the last week's podcast, you did say that you thought it was only be 4 goals. I tipped 10 goals. I think Joyce
tipped 100 points.
Yeah. In particular, Carlton had some really impressive performances. I was actually thinking today they're going to struggle to pick some Brownlow vote getters in that game because traditionally we know that the winning team gets the 3 Brownlow votes. But I mean, Paddy Cripps I thought was an absolute standout. 36 possessions.
25 contested or something.
Yeah.
4th most ever, I believe.
Really?
25 contested possessions.
Also got that down here.
9 clearances. Unbelievable game and probably deserved 3 votes, but you know, it might not go their way. So Dusty will probably get it for his 32 touches or whatever it was.
I think,
They had Charlie Curnow kick 5 goals from 19 disposals, and Cade Simpson was another one who's probably those are probably the top 3 of the top 4. Sorry, 3 of the top 4 players on the ground. So I'll be really interested to see how they award votes in 6 months' time.
Realistically, we won't even remember this by the time the Brownlow's on.
Yeah, mind you, it's the first game. So.
Interesting. Do you think Dusty has the kind of pull now that he's a Brownlow medalist where he's just going to get votes in a game like that? Is he just going to get the 3 votes?
I think that contributed to him winning the Norm Smith personally.
Yeah,
I think it was a line ball decision between him and Hooley. Maybe Hooley probably even edged him. And they just sort of went for that trifecta for Dusty. But
the narrative.
Yeah. He did play a very good game.
Yeah, he did. I'm not really trying to bash him up.
No, not in the grand final against Carlton. So, and I think the fact that they did win by an all right margin in the end, I think he will probably just sneak the 3 votes. I reckon Paddy Cripps 2 votes.
Yeah,
Curnow 1 probably.
Yeah, I think Curnow. He's just so visible, wasn't he? I think everyone was tipping him to get a breakout year, and I was a little bit sceptical because I think he's in his 3rd year now, and he's one of those in between players. He's 194 centimeters, huge rig. He's kind of in between like key and utility and mid. He's a bit of everything. So I thought he might take a while to find his feet, but he just was super kicking 5 goals, and they were pretty good goals too. Yeah. So he could be pretty central to their rise up the ladder.
I think he's a guy a lot of people want to hop on as well. Even today, because I sent you guys that link to the top 10 players under 23, they had him at 10.
Yeah.
That list was a bit ridiculous.
I thought that list was pretty average.
Yeah. Like Matt Crouch and Merritt below like bloody...
Yeah, I see some of the people. They don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
I can understand why Merritt doesn't go that high, to be honest.
Merritt's 7, though.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I got to say I didn't really...
They had Lever above him.
That's bull.
Yeah.
Bull dust.
Matt Crouch as well, he's amazing. Yeah.
Matt Crouch was like 9th on that list. Yeah. That was ridiculous.
Crouch, he's another stat getter.
He averaged 30 last year, I think. 30 touches.
30 to Crouch.
Yeah, he averaged like 30 touches.
He literally got 41 possessions this
week. He did, yeah.
Oh, did you say stat getter?
I did say stat getter.
You said not, didn't you?
No, I did. Oh, yeah,
I thought you said not stat getter.
Yeah,
at least I'm not the only one. Last time I did this, I was completely wrong.
I probably interrupted myself up mid-sentence and it sounded like that. But obviously Crouch is a prodigious ball winner. Definitely, yeah. And speaking of Crouch, obviously the Crows went down in another awesome game on Friday night playing the Bombers. Did you guys all tune into that game?
I watched most of it.
Yeah. Well, that was a pretty enthralling contest from start to finish. And now we obviously know Adelaide falls short. And I guess the other topic I want to talk about is They're in real danger of going 0-2 because we've got the grand final replay on Thursday night, Easter Thursday, Adelaide Oval. And they are favourites of the bookies, but obviously like Richmond at any ground at the moment is a tough ask. And if they go 0-2, we know that history doesn't look fondly on teams that start 0-2. It's something ridiculous, like between 2009 and 2014, and this is the only time I could get these stats because I found an article on it. There was only one team out of 26 to start 0-2 and make the finals. And to be fair, they ended up making the grand final with Sydney. But that just goes to show that most teams who start 0-2 don't make it that far.
I did see stats similar to that. It was basically if you finish in the top 8 in the first round, it's the teams that went to the grand final was like it was made of 100% home percent, 96% like as in if your chances of making the grand final after not winning the first round of the season is 3% to 0.
Something similar. Wow, I saw something quite similar. It was even the top 3 were like they'd all showed the top 3 from round 1. They'd all at least be a semi-finalist.
Wow,
like if you were top 3 after round 1, you're pretty much a semi-finalist.
But I mean, that's purely up to the luck of the draw and who you get round 1.
That's very exactly. Well, it did look bad for over the last 10 years, I think. So
similar with this article as well.
Yeah, well,
it was weird.
Stats is interesting. Yeah,
I think there is obviously seems like there's mental demons going through the Adelaide camp at the moment. Have you seen the training camp that they went on? That was seemed a bit to increase their mental fortitude.
I heard something about Taylor Walker blasting the players.
Yeah, because someone leaked information about it because he didn't want anyone to find out about it. But it's something crazy. You know, they blindfolded everyone, put them in a bus for like, you know, driving up to Gold Coast and things like that.
Blindfolded bus driver
from Adelaide.
Now drag it to the Gold Coast.
It was something ridiculous. It was something really bizarre.
Yeah.
Apparently, this same company that has been doing things for they did work for South Sydney, the Rabbitohs, and Richmond last year actually as well. And those two teams both did really well. But from the sounds of it, sounds like a few of these Adelaide players, really had a very unenjoyable time. And the article, this Fox Sports article, so take it with a grain of salt. But it says something about considering their future at Adelaide.
Yeah, I did see that. I thought it was a bit of a controversial line they kind of threw in there. A bit of clickbait or something, but
it's just interesting. I wonder if that kind of thing plays on them. But this is the same company that told them to take up the power stance last year. As a form of.
It sounds like that Melbourne thing that happened in the pre-season where they complained to the Players Association about some of the
army camp or something. Hey,
that's a bit
just trying to get the advantage, isn't it? You see it in sports all the time. Anyway,
segue. That's true. I mean, I'm definitely not writing off the Crows yet because they went down in a tough game. They played the Bombers, who I think most people would concede they played really well.
Yep.
Had quite a lot of even contribution from a lot of players, and they surprised me a little bit. I think I did tip Adelaide, but the Bombers have just proved too good.
But a few teams... I know you go.
No, I was just going to say, on the plus side for the Crows, we know that Gibbs debuted and was actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
35 possessions and two good goals. So, they've got another heavy lifter in the midfield now. And they also had Tom Dode debut with 21 possessions, who's pretty good. And I think he's another sort of like intercepting defender who's going to be pretty important for their structure now that Lever's gone.
And they had Murphy debut as well.
Lachlan Murphy, was it?
Yeah, so that's 2 in the back line.
You had him in your dream team, right?
I had him on the bench, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I think he went not too bad.
I think he had a disallowed goal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he socketed it off the line or something, and they... testing my memory now, but
No.
They did have Brad Crouch out and Taylor Walker out, and I think they lost Lynch just before the game as well.
Yes.
I think those...
You're right.
I think the Crouch is probably very important to him, I'd say. Probably more...
Has he got a longer-term injury? I think it's a bit of a serious one, isn't it?
I can't actually remember. I thought it was 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
I believe.
Still significant.
Probably season
Lynch is very important for him as well. He's that link-up guy. Literally, I saw a statistic behind Jack Billings. He was like the most possessions for a forward in the league last season.
He does rack up the ball for like a third tall forward. Yeah,
he's that guy the backman can kick it to in the midfield, and he'll.
I don't really fancy Jenkins at all either. I think he's
Overrated.
Pretty average, to be honest. So
Not that handsome.
I think once they, he's bloody not very good. Nah. I think once they get Walker back and Lynch back, and then that probably will free up Jenkins a bit, who can spud it around and maybe kick his one goal for the game.
Yeah, from the goal square.
Yeah,
as well.
I think we'll see them do a lot better. Potentially, that's the best. That's potentially the best mid in the league right now. I mean, you're looking at Gibbs, Matt Crouch, Brad Crouch,
Sloan,
Rory Sloan, even Douglas, guys like that, pretty handy.
Yeah.
That's a very good mid right there.
I think they were questioned for their midfield strength against the other contenders last year. So adding Gibbs does really add another string to their bow, and if they get all those players back, there's no reason they can't be a contender again. Obviously, they're going to have a few questions to answer coming up against the Victorian team at the MCG.
And the other teams looked really good this week. The teams that won looked very, very good. They're contenders from last year, like Sydney, GWS.
Richmond to some extent.
Richmond, exactly.
Geelong even.
But they all looked very good, like in some pretty good form. So you wouldn't, as you said, Adelaide staying 0-2 would, probably won't write them off at that stage.
Another team that looked very good,
and taking a lot away, taking a lot away from Essendon because they were brilliant.
Yeah, they were. It was a quality game. It wasn't. It was one of those admirable losses, if that's the word, and.
As you said last week, Essendon, in terms of Essendon getting a lot out of their teams when they played. Like, sometimes, even when they had sort of middling
talent.
Middling talents, they still grafted out games and won and did really well.
They won well because Zach Merritt only played something like a quarter or if that.
Yeah, he went out early.
Went out with a concussion and they had a man down, and he's obviously an important midfielder to them. So for them to defy the odds a bit and come out on top was really impressive. They finished really strongly.
You could argue he's their best player almost. You could make the argument. He's not necessarily, but you could make the argument. He's arguable, at least.
This?
Merritt. First, and it's arguable.
Is it arguable though?
I don't know. It's pretty clean cut.
I don't think you use that word enough.
Mate, that's pretty arguable, but I don't use the word arguable enough.
I mean, it's debatable. Fair enough. Yeah, he is.
I think Heppel played an amazing game. And for me, Michael Hurley's, I think I said it last podcast, for me, he's the best key back in the... Yeah, I do love him.
Zaharakis.
Terrible haircuts, but good player. I'm talking about the dready ponytail he had, I think, 2 seasons back.
Crisp.
It was crisp. I mean, see you later, Google.
Goodbye, our views.
That's goodbye, our sponsor, Google.
Yeah. So
where were we going?
We got to give a lot of credit to
Essendon,
and I think to say Merritt's the best player, I think that's...
I said it's arguable.
Arguable?
Oh, sorry, all right. I didn't definitively say, but I think you could make an argument that he...
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'd probably prefer Heppel, to be honest.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's a debate for another time. An argument for another time.
Well, I did tip the Bombers as my premiership smoky, and if I'm going to cop it every time they lose, I'm going to bloody rejoice every time they win, because they did have an impressive win against a contender. So
20 points down at 3/4 time.
You're more cop it because you backflipped on it the following week. That's more why you copped it.
Yeah, I did backflip it on a bit, yeah. I just clarified that I meant it as a smoky, not my premiership tip.
Okay, this is arguable.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't see them as a top 4 team, but I could definitely see them as a top 6 to 8 team. And because they play the MCG reasonably well, they're always going to be a shout. And I would argue that any MCG team that finishes in the top 8 is a sneaky chance.
Yep.
I think that's where the game is now.
Them versus Melbourne was saying it's like that. First week of finals would be excellent game.
That'd be a bit stanky.
It would be.
Well, another MCG team that could finish in the lower half of the 8 and contend, and another team that a few of us, maybe the exception of you, has written off, are the Hawks. They were very impressive on the weekend, and came up against the team that I would have said were pretty evenly matched. And Collingwood probably it's probably the fittest that Collingwood have been for a while. They've still got their injury issues, but in terms of their midfield, they were minus DeGoey pretty close to full strength, and Hawthorn were just outclassed them at every turn.
Yeah.
Really important for them as well that O'Meara stays fit. We know that how damaging he can be when he's fit, and I think he had 30 posies, maybe, pretty close to that. And Tom Mitchell had enough for 2 players getting 30 posies. So
Yeah, 54 he ended up
Most
winning.
ever, wasn't
it? Yeah, exactly. Tom Mitchell.
It's been a pretty big round for possessions, to be honest. I mean, with Matt Crouchfish on 41, I think Joel Selwood and Albert both finished 35, like
39.
39.
What was Caniglio?
32, I think.
Yeah, him and Kelly to something ridiculous like that. It's pretty mental at the moment. Is that due to more stoppages, or is it due to... I don't
we're definitely seeing the game's increasingly more possession heavy, isn't it? Like, we're getting these high numbers a lot. Tom Mitchell just keeps the ball on a string. I'm convinced he's got his own Sharon out there. He's just handballing it to himself and recording the stats in the background. But no, that is the way it's going. I remember in 2004, Judd won the Brownlow averaging 18 possessions. And now Lockie Neal and Tom Mitchell can average 35 and they won't get necessarily close to the Brownlow. It's just the way the game's going at the moment.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's interesting. I kind of have shared Buckley's view on this issue. And if you guys remember, Buckley famously said after Mitchell got 51 possessions last time they played Hawthorn, Collingwood versus Hawthorn, he said he wasn't going to tag him because he's not a damaging player. And at the time, I kind of agreed with him, but I think it kind of bit him on the arse this game, didn't it? I think if any time you let a guy roam around stoppage getting, not uncontested, but like free reign at the ball and he gets 54 posies and you lose by 6 goals,
you open to criticism there.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, to me, it looked like they moved still side bottom onto him in the second half, but definitely no means a hard tag on him, that's for sure. 51, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a damaging player, but
to have a player that wins the ball and is in position to get the ball and then hand off to the better players on the wing, such as Isaac Smith and players like this, I mean, pretty valuable.
Yeah.
They just showed him by the ease that they basically beat Collingwood with.
Yeah.
I think that was... Yeah, it didn't seem like much of a challenge to them, to be honest.
It'd be really interesting to see how the Hawks fare if they lose Mitchell to injury or a suspension, to see if they actually get worse, because Pritis was another one for the Eagles who was an absolute ball magnet. Yeah. And then he'd miss a game. And sorry about that. The camera's gone off again, and we have constant camera issues. But I think this time we didn't lose any footage, so fingers crossed. So yeah, we were talking about Hawthorn and the way that Tom Mitchell racks up the ball. Completely lost the thread of what we were talking about. I was quite impressed at how they just picked apart a team that, as I said, I thought they were evenly matched with. And I think now the question is, where is Bucks at Collingwood? Because I feel like they haven't improved on the basis of round one.
He's screwed.
They haven't improved on the basis of round 1, 2014. I'd say under Buckley.
In fact, they've gotten... In fact, I think they finished later every year since he's taken over. I think
it's pretty consistently in that 13-14.
I think it's gone like 11th, 12th, 12th, 13th. I feel like it's actually moved slightly backwards every year. And he just gets such a long leash, and I would just wonder when's the end of the rope for him, because...
it's got to be... You'd think it would be this year if they
think so.
Don't show any improvement.
I wonder what his contract status is. It's probably going to get a question that's asked every time they lose a game. Yeah. So maybe we won't labour on that. We'll wait till they lose the next week.
He might do a Hardwick who was copying these questions and pull it out of his butt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
True. Hardwick's record was a lot better. Hardwick made the finals 3 times in a row, and he lost a final 3 years in a row, and then came
9th a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if they actually did come 9th, did they?
That was a whole thing about them consistently being 9th.
Yeah, but that's from like the 90s.
I think
no, even like the early 2010s.
What was it? When Essendon got kicked out, didn't they then?
They got in.
No, Richmond were 5th, and they played Carlton, and Carlton were 9th, and Carlton won. So they said they were the first team to lose.
But they have been 9 a lot.
Yeah. No, I've heard the songs. No, but as I said, like Hardwick made the finals like 3 times at least, and I think Buckley made the finals once or twice, and I think they were in his first 2 seasons, and he's literally slipped every year since then. So.
Did they even make finals when he took the reins?
2012, he took over. It was his first season. I think they did make the finals at least one year. Yeah. It's pushing my memory now, but as I said, like
there wasn't a lot in that performance that would be encouraging to any Collingwood.
Pendlebury, how old is Pendlebury now? I think he was 2005 draft.
I was going to say 31 or 32.
Yeah, I had him
18,
13
yeah,
13 years ago, 2021. Yeah.
I mean, they've got to go, but they've seriously got to find like a next generation of mids because they've got Treloar, Adams, and to go obviously. But
Stevenson looked good actually.
Yeah. He's a promising talent, but whether he's going to be a genuine on baller, I'm not sure. I think he might just be a really good wingman utility. But we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, boys, we should talk about the purple flogs momentarily. We just went through where Colin was at, but I want to get your thoughts on the game at Adelaide Oval. Personally, I had actually tipped Freo. I didn't want to tell you that before the game, but disappointing.
It was, but I don't want to read too much into it though, because I think Port played really well. Like you saw Jack Whites and Stephen Motlop, who aren't known for being consistent producers, both have ripping games. So I think it was as much as Port Adelaide played well as, even though Freo did look pretty average, I will definitely say. But I want to see how we go against Essendon before I sort of go, send Ross to back to Melbourne.
Back to Melbourne, okay.
Send him back to Melbourne. We'll do that trade for Woosh if it was a ridiculous rumour.
The coach trade.
Yeah. Coach swap.
I'm of the same opinion. I think we're going to have to get a read on Fremantle over a period of time, maybe 8 weeks before we can get a real read on whether they've improved or not. Losing by 10 goals to a top 5 team last year on face value isn't actually a disaster. I know that there are a lot of fans. I know you were quite disappointed after the game, but they're going to go back next week and they've blooded a couple of new young players, pretty promising, Brayshaw and Banfield, who are obviously going to be really important in the future.
Chera's coming in this week.
That's true, yeah. So, yes, somebody did say that. So, how do we know that? Who said that?
I saw a post from the Dockers.
Ross Lyon said he's coming in. Yeah, so that'll be good.
For someone like Daniel Pearce?
Well,
hopefully he gets dropped.
How's he getting games?
You'd say so. You'd say
so.
so.
For years now.
Yeah.
What does he offer? How is he in the team?
Yeah, a few of the team selections I think a bit weird. Ballantyne's one for me that's just well over the hill.
Yeah, it seems strange. I mean, it's Ballantyne, Pearce, Johnson. I mean, Johnson's still, don't get me wrong, good player, but I think on his day against the right opponent, I thought Hamling would have been a better.
They thought he was underdone.
I think he was. Yeah,
he looked like he'd been eating kebabs all off season.
He was underdone apparently. So they wanted to get him a game into him at Peel.
I thought we were talking about Johnson.
Yeah, Hamling.
That's why Hamling.
Johnson
played over Hamling. Because I was like, why the hell hasn't Hamling playing when I first saw the selections?
Okay.
But that was their reason.
Or his nickname is Baby Pig.
That is the worst pun I've ever heard in my life.
Somebody got it.
I got it, but it was the worst pun I've ever heard in my life.
Hamling. Someone keep talking so we can get past this.
He's underdone as well.
This is the True Footy podcast.
This is that Batuta article that reckons a bunch of mates making a podcast.
Yeah.
Did you actually read that article? Yeah?
No, I didn't know.
It's a pretty funny article.
It's pretty funny.
Back to Freo, sorry. I was really disappointed with, I think, the ease that Port Adelaide scored. I think there might potentially be some issues with the system we're playing. I know it's only round 1, but it's almost been 3 years now. And I think a lot of the players still seem to be struggling with the system. Having said that, it's only round 1. I don't want to jump the gun too early.
Looked pretty red hot in the first 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I really liked our pressure.
Yeah, I think Lyon actually said he thinks we potentially went a little bit too hard and cooked ourselves and a little bit in the first quarter or in the first even 15 minutes. So he was talking on the news about more managing that a little bit better. But I mean, that's a little bit of a cop out. I feel like you need to have moments in games where you're trying to capitalise on the opposition. But for me, just we're in a rebuild. Get the old guys out, get the young guys in.
I think you're kind of approaching a time where you're starting to get a settled team a little bit. I know you just said there's a few guys you want to transition out. You got Chera to come in and maybe a couple of youngsters, Brendan Cox, Hamling. But I think once you get the guys, you're close to getting to the point where you've got the guys in you want. I think the backline's starting to get a little more settled now. You know which guys you rate, which ones you don't. You've got a fit Fife, Neil, Mundy, and and Brayshaw and Banfield are probably going to try and play every game this year. So I feel like over time, it may take half a season. You might actually find that you have to make a good run, but at the end of the year, that's my view.
I think part of it was because we are hopefully winning a few games, hopefully getting around to that 10 or 11. I think he was thinking, do we want to pick a team to rebuild or do we want to pick a team to win games, which is probably maybe picking some of the older guys. But I think if we're committing to the rebuild, we need to do that properly and blood the youngsters.
I almost reckon our team to rebuild's better than the team to win. Like some of these young guys have got, like Daniel Pearce, he just chucks it on the boot and hopes for the best.
I think there's an argument against putting all your kids in at once. So it was the same thing with the Eagles. Try not to debut more than 3 or 4 players.
We've still got good old guys like Mundy, Sandilands. They're highly regarded in the club. Even
senior players to help ease young guys.
I think there's a chance Banfield might miss out this week because of that, because Chair has been confirmed.
Interesting.
They were talking about possibly even another debutant this week, which I think could possibly be Crowden or Dixon.
Yeah.
I've heard Tom North, maybe. Tom North's had a couple of killer games.
He missed on the weekend.
I see Dixon playing. He had a good game.
6 goals for the Peel.
Yeah, so, I mean, if those two come in, you would think possibly Banfield to come out. I mean, playing four of those guys extremely raw would probably
Kirsten
be a bit much,
can't get another game, can he?
I think Dixon comes in probably.
That's the way you'd do it, wouldn't you? You don't want to lose too much running power by taking out.
Yeah. I think to be fair to Kirsten, he actually had a few alright games last year, and I think he was our highest goal kicker. If not him, it was Walters.
McCarthy was our highest goal kicker last year on 25.
Please stop that.
Kirsten had a few alright games, so he probably deserved.
He was our second, I think.
He probably deserved to get a game round 1, but for me, long term, get him out.
I think these guys you're lacking a lot of. Well, I guess you could say about the Eagles and a lot of teams, but I mean, scoring power. I think we've talked about it quite often, but some like a centre half forward. I mean, Taberner was just sort of left in the forward line, deep in the forward line, and then he was moved as a loose play in the back line towards the end, which was pretty ridiculous. But McCarthy isn't really a centre forward. He's probably more roaming out to the wings, second tall, and then you've got to stay on full forward. You need like a centre half forward. You really, really do. I don't know if Dixon can fill those roles, or is there a resting ruckman that you could bring in that could play that role?
Personally, I really didn't understand the whole playing Taberner behind the ball for 50% of the game. I really think we're crying out for a centre half forward that's leading up the ground.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think he's kind of got to give Taberner a chance. I mean, a lot of the public don't like him. Give him a chance, play him at centre half forward, so he's actually got a chance to show what he can do.
100%.
I think structurally you guys could gain, as you were saying, from having Dixon come in, and because he's that 194 plus, how tall is he? Probably about 195-ish,
I think Dixon's between 195 200, is he?
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, more of a key height. He could come to the side, and then I think you were talking about today possibly playing Sean Darcy as a second ruck for dropping for maybe another forward. I think was it Kirsten?
I mean, that's what I'd like to do, but to be honest, it sounds like that's not going to happen at the moment.
I'll say, was it you I was talking to you about this, Joyce, or was it my old man? It was like, we were saying you could play, like Sandy's the big deep forward, and even if he's not that good, he's going to tap it down and have crumbs and stuff.
I think we should do that as well.
Is Darcy fit?
Darcy's
fit and healthy. It's just they've gone with Sandy.
I mean, Sandlands is a good player, and I thought he was pretty good for these guys. So
it's probably our best player.
Yeah, definitely. But I think there's probably a time where you got to bring in. Yeah, as I said, if you drop Kirsten, bring him in, sure he can't be much worse in the forward line. And at least he still gets time in the ruck as a developing ruckman.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But from everything Ross has said, it sounds like they don't want to go with Sandlands and Darcy.
It's interesting because if you lose Sandy next year, hypothetically, you'd rather have Darcy have 30 games under his belt than 15 to 20.
It's a tough one. I feel like you have to play, like we were saying. I feel like you have to play them both. I mean, Sandlands, you got to have him in because he's still on his day probably our best player right now, other than Fife. And Darcy, you got to blood him. He's a really good young player, showing really good signs of moving in the direction that we want him to. So keep playing him. Don't stunt that growth.
I was going to say, it's arguable that Sean Darcy's the best under-23 ruckman going around at the moment.
Possibly,
Yeah.
Definitely the most proven.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any other under 23 rucks
Yeah.
that have really... Not many have debuted, to be honest, other than Tim English.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It just seems like a round one game from Ross Lyon where he's kind of settled back on his laurels and put out senior players that might not deserve a game. A few conservative moves, like moving Tabner back into the back line's a very conservative move as well. It's not hard rebuilding. It's just sort of, I don't know.
I wonder if that's under a bit of pressure to meet fan expectations and try and maybe jag in a few early wins, especially with the media hype that followed them after the JLT. We know they had a very impressive JLT. So Brad Hardy is an example of... I've talked about this with you guys off the air today.
I think we're doing really well to not absolutely dig like a kick fair when they're down the road, Jesse. I'm really holding back.
But look, like...
Go for it, mate.
They
deserve it, I think.
Well, this is why I think Brad Hardy's a bag of shit, because he literally, in his article, admits he wrote a previous article a week ago saying Fremantle are going to make the finals, the Eagles are going to win the spoon, blah, blah, blah. And after one game, he's backflipped on himself. And he's saying they're pathetic, with more of the same, another year of all this shit. Like, where's the integrity in that?
Yeah.
Why? He's just...
commentators. It's crazy, isn't it? How it's almost like clickbait, isn't it? Just like choosing, what do you think the public is going to really go for this week?
Chew up this week.
And that's just say it. Don't stick with anything from...
I think people are starting to realise that journalism's sort of gone down, like, in its credibility. That's why people are watching stuff like us, because journalists bloody...
Just completely unfiltered.
True footy.
Yeah, it is true.
But literally, though, because journalists are just ridiculous these days. They're just fishing for clickbait titles and all this stuff.
So much competition.
They're not reporting on stuff. They're just trying to get clicks.
There's so many different articles, so many different journos that they almost need to do it to get ahead of the other people and to get clicks. So it's creating bad journalism. But anyway, before we move on to the next segment, I think we're going to have a 2-minute break.
Back for the second half of the podcast. Joycey was just saying something interesting before the break. No, you weren't. Joycey? I don't know why I set that up. We have to start again now.
I was just saying the Australian cricket scandal was the biggest ball tampering scandal since Caitlin Jenner. That's what I was saying.
It's a zinger.
We can edit that out if we choose.
Boys, you're supposed to pretend that's the first time you've heard that.
I thought of that in the break. I'll admit.
All right. So we did touch heavily on Fremantle.
Settle down, Kevin Spacey.
Got halfway through saying that and I regretted it. I was like, where do I go with this?
Take 9.
We got to calm down, hey?
Yeah, I know. It's that Diet Coke. All right, so we talked about Freo quite a lot, and we didn't really talk about Port. They did have a very, very encouraging performance for their perspective. Riley Bonner has just taken out the Rising Star nomination for round 1 with 31 possessions. I don't think he went at over 80% efficiency. So he was one that at the time of the draft I was really interested in West Coast getting. Just that really skillful half-back type. But he looks like he could be a long-term player, definitely.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't... Yeah, he's done well, but I don't think we offered much in terms of forward pressure, to be honest, after quarter time. So I think if a halfback was going to go well, that was going to be the game to do it.
Yeah.
And they do have depth in that position with Pittard, Burn-Jones.
He does have pretty elite kick on him, so definitely has that going for him. But
good on him.
Yeah.
But Port were very good. They had some really good players. I think I spoke last week about how I think Brad Ebert was underrated. He had a really good game. I think Wines had a pretty decent game. And we actually saw, everyone was talking when they got Watts and Mollop about how inconsistent they were, but, they're 1 from 1. One good game from one possible good game.
And Rockcliffe was the one I think most people were confident on. He kind of struggled, didn't he? I
don't think he played massive midfield minutes. They played him more as a defensive forward. I think
he had 7 touches or something.
I think he had 12.
He has a bit more.
So, yeah, he's a really interesting one. I actually think Port think that their current midfield brigade is...
Which makes it questionable why they bothered.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I mean, he was very underdone, to be fair. That's the first game he played. He played no pre-season.
That's true.
So it's a possibility that they were easing him in. Maybe he almost wasn't ready.
That's true. But you look at the on-ball division, and it's already a big-bodied sort of like clearance-winning brigade, isn't it? You got Wines, you got Ebert, you got Power Pepper coming through the ranks, and Boak, who we said plays a bit of forward line now, but
yeah, he does.
It's not really a skill set they're down on, is it? The old clearance mid.
No, but I mean,
I didn't see Rockcliffe as being a super flexible player either. Like, he wasn't not prolific goal scorer when he goes forward, and wouldn't really want him to play in the back line either. Don't see him as a defensive style player, really.
Well, interestingly, Brisbane played him quite a bit up forward last year. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but
I didn't watch the single Brisbane game.
He was moved,
good on you.
moved forward.
Now we do a footy podcast.
Again, I think because they were more confident in the likes of Beams and Zorko. They have youngsters Matheson and McCluggage running through there rather than
Berry.
Berry.
That's true.
I do love good Berry.
He was very good on the weekend.
Oh, I like it.
You're gone. Get out of here.
Get out.
That deserved more credit.
I'll get out of my own house. I'll see you later.
That did not deserve more credit.
Yeah, I thought they were good. Jack Watts had a few promising signs. I played well as well.
Freo were very bad, so I think it's kind of hard to read into how good that was. I think, well, obviously, I mean, last year, did they beat a top 8 side last year?
Fremantle?
No, Port.
Oh.
I
think they beat us in Perth, and we came 8th.
Okay.
I think they did mention that on the broadcast, actually, Joyce, if they were a bit of a flat track, you didn't beat
I think they are. I mean, everyone calls the Eagles flat track bullies, but I think Port a little bit like that last year, so probably wait to save our judgment until they come up against Adelaide, Sydney, Geelong, one of those sorts of teams.
Maybe, I think talk was they didn't beat a team that was in the 8 when they played against them, because I mean, they beat Sydney round 1 last year.
That's true. Good point, yeah.
And were Eagles in the 8 when they played Eagles? Maybe not.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Enjoyed that game.
Nothing else to add.
That's all I had to say.
Well, speaking of beltings, and I think this one's probably a bit more unforgivable. What did you say?
What are you laughing at?
Did you say something? No. Speaking of unforgivable beltings, when I was a child, no.
You hear that, Jesse's dad? We're coming for you.
Still says to this day it was unforgivable.
Yeah.
What I did. There was poo all over the walls.
Too far.
And then the beltings happened.
Yeah. That was during the belting. That's right. Anyway, moving on from that terrible joke. The dogs was where I was getting at with that. And you could say in more than one sense there was poo on the wall in that game because they
I like it.
They went down by 14 goals
transition.
to the Giants.
Yeah, disappointing from the Dogs. I think dog supporters are going to be wondering a bit where they're at. I mean, everyone's sort of, I think, wondering how have they lost their way, gone from being such a good side to such a bad side.
That's all the analysis we have of this game.
What?
I'm still on the pool of the wall. Moving on. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but
That's true.
I think GWS very good as well.
Bulldogs bad.
Bulldogs bad. I mean, it's sort of like the Port Adelaide Freo one. With the combination of a team being really bad and a team being really good, it just obviously when that happens, a belting's going to happen.
That's true. Now, the Doggies, I've said previously, I still think they've got to take a bit of a step back before they go forward. Their list, I still think, is in a bit of a transition. They've got a bit of an injury hit backline. We know Adams is out, Dale Morris off the top of my head. They've got Aaron Norton debuting. I think they're the 6th youngest list in the league, which is quite young, considering they won a premiership 2 years ago. And further to that, I think they had 14 to 15 players against GWS who were under 25. I'll double check that. I think it was 15. So we can't really overestimate how young they actually are. So that might explain where they are at. And I think coming up against what is becoming a pretty experienced side in GWS.
Clinical.
Yeah, they were pretty clinical, and I honestly think this might be a sign of things to come for the Dogs. I think they're in for a tough year.
It was strange. I mean, Easton Wood was played in the forward line for long periods of time, which I thought was odd, and Bontempelli was played in a more forward role than midfield role, which I thought was also odd. But I thought Easton Wood in the forward line, and he didn't have, I don't think he had any
7 touches.
Yeah, there you go.
Especially when GWS have Cameron and Patton.
Yeah, Cameron kicked 16, Patton kicked 4, I think. And yeah, we have Adams out and Dale Morris out.
It's the height of stupidity, I reckon. I'm going to say it. Easton Wood in the forward line, especially with their back line depleted, it's the height of stupidity.
Going in hard.
I'm going in hard. That is stupid, especially since he was ineffective.
Good call, bad call.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Bontempelli also kind of struggled for impact, only 18 possessions and a goal when you're playing as a forward. I guess he got belted, but a few experiments didn't pay off there, definitely. And if the GWS mids monstered them. I think Caniglio had 32 touches, Whitfield had 30 plus, maybe 34, maybe
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly did well.
Taranto.
And Taranto had a breakout game. I think he had 32 touches as well. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
Even Shield, I think, had a fair.
Did he? Yeah. It looks like they just monstered them in terms of
you'd kill for any of those players, wouldn't you? Like any team in the league would have any of them.
Toby Green had a great game.
Yeah.
They're a good side,
$6 million
GWS.
contract he's on now as well.
I think a lot of people are pretty quick to write them off for this year already, but if you just look at the depth of their talent, the players they got Brett Delidio playing like back pocket, can hardly get into the team. Ryan Griffin can't get into the team anymore. Callan Ward can hardly get into the midfield anymore.
Matty De Boer actually had a half decent game for him. He had 20 plus.
He's just recently signed a 2-year contract, so good on him for fighting against the odds.
Yeah. It's pretty good for a player his age. He's like close to 30 to get a 2-year contract. It's
not out at Fremantle as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, they're a very good side for me, GWS. I think that they're a bit similar to Port Adelaide, though. The test is really going to come when their back's against the wall. How are those young guys going to go? Are they going to have the experience to really be able to get over the line in a tight game against Sydney or GWS? That's where the question marks, I think. Against Sydney or Geelong.
Yeah.
That's where the question marks, I think, still lie on GWS at the moment.
I think they could take on Sydney pretty well. I still think, like I've said for every other non-Victorian contender, I think coming against the MCG team in the finals at the MCG is going to be the biggest test. And I think teams from interstate coming up against a Victorian team have to be that much better. So we saw them get punished in the prelim against the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers were a better team anyway, but that remains a massive question mark for them and all the other contenders, really.
The MCG has become a huge factor. It's almost getting to the stage now where they should almost build another stadium. Every team plays an equal amount of games per year at the MCG, and then they hold the grand final at the MCG. Obviously, that's not a very realistic option. There's no fair way to do it. That's the problem. And we've seen a massive trend with Victorian clubs doing well, I think a lot of the interstate teams with the quality they have, if they were Melbourne-based, would be almost unbeatable. I mean, I think I said to you today, the team West Coast had in 2005, if they had the exact same players at a Collingwood or a Carlton, I could almost see that being like a dynasty era, but they only get one premiership out of that.
Barely.
Yeah, exactly. What was it? 5 points?
They barely lost one as well.
4 points.
Oh no, we won the one by 1 point.
Oh, you won the one by 1 point.
Yeah.
So 1 point away from not winning
from Sydney going back to
with
back.
that side. Yeah, exactly.
But also 4 points away from going back to back.
Yeah, but that was the year after. So
yeah.
So yeah, I think this is a problem for the league. I think, and I don't think they care.
I even know clubs are adjusting for it. Like Freo's new facility has a oval modelled after the MCG's dimensions.
West Coast.
West Coast, yeah.
Which is good, but at the same time, I mean, a training facility can only do so much.
It
speaks more to the effect the MCG advantage.
I think you're right. There's no real short-term solution. I really don't think you can hold the grand final at Adelaide Oval or even Optus Stadium, which we'll get to later. It's a fantastic stadium. You just can't have a grand final there. It's not the same.
No, you can't.
But anyway, moving on real quick. Oh, I was going to say, finally on GWS, did you guys notice that Zach Langdon is the first ever debutant to give himself a Gatorade shower after a win? Have you seen that fair photo?
No.
They're standing in the circle and everyone's like, the traditional Gatorade shower after someone's had the first win. He's got his own Gatorade bottle going, yeah! That's so random. Like, no one else is like, yeah.
Not the Gatorade. Tom Liberatore doing ACL as well for the Bulldogs is not good news for them.
That is true, yeah.
No.
He battled last year, didn't he? I think he had a real...
Yeah, I mean, he was
patch.
he missed all 2015 season with ACL, I think, of the same knee as
Was it?
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't realise that.
Yep. So
Yeah, it's his second major knee injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
No,
Not for
he's in strife a little bit. If you do back to
He
back
had some
ACLs.
good preseason games and he was fit and firing apparently and
That sucks.
chasing Josh Kelly. And
There is like, you are prone to redoing it, aren't you? Once you've done one, I think there is science to suggest that. So that sucks.
Yeah.
not good news for the Bulldogs. After that performance, pretty hard to see him.
I have heard the new surgery for them is improving.
Lars or hybrid?
The one where they get a bit of your hammy and the hammy's stronger than the original tendon. That's what I've heard. I think that might be for ruptures though rather than tears, because with the tears they might just try and sew them together and it might...
Okay,
That could be the difference maybe.
interesting.
I'm not a knee surgeon.
Aren't you? Fair enough.
Oh, really? That's what I thought you
I'm
did.
a quad surgeon.
I thought you were an arse surgeon.
That's on his online dating profile.
Butt surgeon.
Anyway, boys, moving quickly on to...
Surgery will make you a whole week.
Moving quickly on to what I think you can probably class as game of the round was one we probably tipped was going to be game of the round. And that was between the Demons and the Cats. And all I can really say to start off with is how does Max Gawn miss that shot in front of the goals?
Choke.
Yeah, it was an absolute choke. And I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he had, 138 DT points, which reflects how much he dominated. I think it was like 47
double
hits.
the hit outs of his opponent.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's hard to be harsh on him. Like, fair to say he contributed to his team, but that's a really unforgivable miss. And considering how close they were to making the finals last year, we know how, costly losses like that will be later in the season.
Awesome result. Said last week, I would have loved it. Geelong won, and God, that was enjoyable.
I really wanted the Demons to win because the whole time I was going to the Optus Stadium game, Dad was like, Geelong's going to kill him, mate. Like, Melbourne are useless. And I was like, I just really wanted to prove my point. You know when somebody disagrees with you and you don't feel that strongly, but then ego gets into it and you want to be right?
Yeah.
I was like, Melbourne's going to come back. So it was a double burn for me when they missed.
Double burn. They were behind for about 20, actually probably a few more points of that, and then came back.
Yeah, I think they were behind the whole game.
Pretty good performance by them. And as we said, we did think it was going to be game of the round, and probably was. Yeah, really.
But I mean, Melbourne, that's a real. Like they've really failed to tick that box where they're coming up against contenders at the G and they need to start performing. I think they're at that point where they're maturing, and I think this is a bit of a failure for them to not get.
It's not an easy team to come against.
Even without danger, they're still bloody good.
Is that a sexual thing?
Nah, just an inside joke.
Sure.
Maybe come up against.
That's true. You did phrase it poorly.
I know what I said.
You're totally joshing the man. What are you doing?
Anyway, where were we? Sorry,
Do we know any Joshes?
I was going to say the Cats, on the other hand, ticked a big box because Melbourne were tipped to be a team on the rise this year, and without Dangerfield, they answered a few of their critics, and we know how good Ablett was. I don't think anyone expected Ablett to go straight back to top form straight away.
Definitely not.
No, 39 posies and a goal. And, they've still got Danger to come in the next week or two. I think he must be close. He must be round two. I think Easter Monday is when they're hoping to pick back. And you have to wonder, that plus the extra midfield support from Tim Kelly in particular, 27 possessions and a goal, I think, on debut.
He looked great.
He did, yeah. And he just slotted straight into their midfield rotation. And with Danger back next week, you have to think...
Who comes out?
It's a great question. Yeah, because 18-year-old Lockie Fogarty debuted, and he had 23 possessions and a goal. Must have been close to a rising star nom. So it'd be rough on him to come out.
Yeah, could be Menegola even.
Yeah. They've got a good problem to have there. They've got such a strong midfield, and they're not going to want to push out young players like Fogarty.
Yeah, they're a good side.
Even Scotty Selwood to come back, because he'd be struggling to get back in if these guys keep up form.
Yeah.
Oh, don't know what that was.
You're struggling over there, mate.
Yeah, man.
Mate, come on.
I'm suffering from flu-like symptoms.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw you coughing, buddy.
What are poo-like symptoms? What?
Oh, mate, it's
flu.
where you shit on the wall or whatever we were talking about before.
Well, whatever we doing that. That joke.
just finishing up a topic and Bush is in the back going, my stomach ulcer.
Oh, baby. I probably do have one of those, let's be honest.
All right, guys. So the last game of the round was West Coast Sydney. I think this game actually went how a lot of people expected it to go. West Coast lose by 4 or 5 goals. But there was some really good signs for West Coast fans. I think a lot of West Coast fans thought you'd get belted, but you're actually in most of the game. I think they just sort of sprinted away in the last 10 to 15 minutes.
Just left ourselves with too much to do.
Obviously, got to talk about Buddy Franklin. I mean, he had a great
Monstrous,
game.
hey? Yeah, he just came in, saw the new stadium, just pissed on it basically, didn't he?
Should be called Buddy Stadium.
Peak alpha, like.
Did you see someone updated the Wikipedia page of Optus Stadium and said owner Lance Franklin?
I like it.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty poor. I think we didn't put a player in front of him as well as having Brass home until late in the third, I believe.
Brass has proven himself to be a poor
I think Buddy was in a mode where he just didn't give it.
He was, yeah.
Damn.
But Barras, I think, sucks one-on-one.
Yeah, I think,
I think he's such a good intercept defender and rebounding key defender. And he's really promising. He's still one of the better young key forwards in the game, under 22.
Key backs, you mean?
Sorry, key backs. I didn't mean key backs. But it was pretty... He got absolutely owned on Buddy's...
Yep.
I love McGovern as a player. He's a great player.
He didn't have
But he has got to come back and impact and help out Barras more than he did in that game. He left Barras and Buddy one-on-one far too many times.
I think that was probably a team directive. I don't know if that's Gov being negative.
Oh, no, I think it is. But I think it was a team directive. They want McGovern to be that free man, take lots of intercept marks. But if he's going to be a second tall down there, he has to have an impact defensively as well.
I think
he can't just be a free man.
I think it was a bit harsh to leave Barras out Franklin 101 after he kicked like 3 goals in the first quarter.
I think it was obvious from the start of the game, Schofield was the man, to be honest. I think McGovern and Barras aren't great stoppers. Schofield isn't great either, but I think he's honed those skills well. And McKenzie's really the man we needed.
McKenzie is. I think Schofield was on him for parts, and I think he had at least 1 goal kicked on him during that time. I don't think Schofield has the pace to keep up with players on the lead anymore.
No,
he's
more
negating defender than a Barras or McGovern. But I think I think we quelled his influence a little bit by having Barras on him. It could have been Schofield, Barras and Schofield on him, and then having Yo-Yo McGovern in front of him. And we didn't have that. It was basically Franklin's paddock Buddy's paddock for a while, for the first 2.5 quarters, where Sydney would just cut us up in the middle and then just boot it as fast as they could to Buddy.
The delivery to them was pretty precise. Like he had a good run of it in terms of the way the ball was flowing for him.
Definitely, but no, he was in a mood. It was just watching out there was incredible. It was
frustrating because there'd be periods of dominance for us, and then as Bunny would get within 5 metres of it, it'd be a goal.
Game, yeah, exactly.
It was that kind of game. But as Joyce was saying, a lot of fans were actually kind of positive. What was it you that said that? They were quite positive about the loss, even though we lost. And I think that is a byproduct of how much the media jumped off us during the preseason. I think that actually lowered all our expectations. Definitely. And the fact that we did push them, but for a second quarter, where we just got absolutely monstered.
That was,
The third quarter was fantastic. We got really close. And I think, I don't want to sound like a sore loser, I think there were some crucial umpiring decisions that went the wrong way at the wrong time. And I don't think they cost us the game, but they were costly in general.
It was a bit of a shame. I mean, because I went to the game as did you, and it was with about 10 to 15 minutes to go, and it was one of the best games, like the best atmospheres I'd ever been at. It was incredible. You could see this is going to be a tight finish. It was going to be an excellent end of the game, and then there's just 2 or 3 terrible, I don't know, pretty bad umpiring decisions that affected the game too much, I think. And then who was it? Papley that kicked that bloody goal over his head.
Parker.
What the hell was
What
that?
the
Like,
flip?
yeah. Well, that was due to a free kick like 10 or 15 seconds before that.
yeah.
And then after that, the crowd was done. The players were done. It was game over. And they still had 5 or 10 minutes
Yeah,
of the game. That was due
cooked.
to a pretty bad free kick.
I think people started leaving at that point.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And the Buddy Franklin throw, and I thought Jack Darling got pretty... Man, there was a few... I was pretty upset at the end of the game. But,
well,
yeah.
I've never personally, at the game, seen the umpires booed off like they were.
That was,
unbelievable.
I thought that was...
The game was finished and everyone was sort of like picking up their stuff and we just heard this massive booing and I was like, what the hell's going on? It was the umpires walking off. Yeah. And it was, I don't know, I was pretty happy with their decision to boo them off.
Yeah, the umpiring in general, the whole round I wasn't happy with. I was going to say, you just wanted me to think of a segment for the bushwhacked and I was going to say I could go on a rant about how terrible the umpiring's been this entire round. Even that first game, Carlton, Richmond, that call on Waitering. Remember that call early on Waitering where he didn't touch him and they up the field? It was 50 metres away from the play.
For me, there was 2 50 metres. There was one called against Caddy and one against Cochin. That were absolute shockers. Gave away 50-metre penalties.
Even the other one I noticed is calls off about 50 metres away from the ball. They were doing that a lot, just little stuff like that. The camera would have seen that. It was like nothing. They're calling stuff 50 metres away from the play for nothing.
Yeah.
These umpires are just trying to involve themselves too much. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really odd. I found that I didn't like the umpiring in that game at all. I don't know if that was a directive, this is a new stadium, it's going to be like a cauldron kind of thing. It's going to be a lot of yelling, noise of affirmation, I think, has been described.
That's actually a fair observation.
So
the fact that they were probably aware that the ground was going to be hostile, which it was. It was absolutely mental in there.
I think they were lucky that they didn't have replays actually on the screen due to a technical issue for about 3/4.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
I did notice there weren't actually.
And so I think if they had replays, I think the crowd would have turned on the umpires a lot earlier. Yeah. A lot earlier. I think that was actually pretty nice for about 2.5 quarters.
Yeah.
As soon as they, I think one of the first replays they showed was that Buddy getting tackled 360 and throwing the ball away and not being a free kick.
Yeah.
And that came up afterwards, and when that replay came up, that was That was a loud boo.
There was a lot of bad decisions during our good run, and a few costly ones like Lecrae kicking that goal and then it being turned over for kicking in danger. I think it was in the end, and then it went straight up the other end for a goal, which is a 12-point turnaround.
I think the Optus Stadium staff would have been glad that it was close because if Sydney were well in front, there wouldn't have been any Eagles fans there at full time. What do you reckon, Busher?
I like that call.
We had about 10 minutes after the game was already over, and there were a lot of people still around.
Yeah.
And the trains, public transport, they're sucked, and there's still a lot of people around, all right, mate?
Oh, that's good.
Any tips for someone going this week, boys, now that you've been to a game at Optus Stadium? Because I'm going this week.
You watched the Port game last week? I don't recommend going. Look, that's just a response situation.
Unless you're a Port fan.
No, I'm actually a Bombers fan.
It's awesome stadium. Amazing stadium. Before bounce down, absolutely incredible. Yeah.
My favourite part was the lights. They've got screens, LED screens around the field, like where the sponsorship sort of what do you call them, boards are. Yeah. They're actually like LED screens. So it doesn't matter. I thought I heard something. Anyway, so every time the Eagles kicked a goal, it flashed blue and gold, and it was really awesome for building that like Coliseum kind of feeling, you could really tell where the home team was, which is unlike pretty much any other ground, I think. And it'll be the same, I'd imagine, every time there's a goal. If there's any Freo goals, it'll just flash purple.
If there's any Freo goals, mate.
But for anyone that does want to see what the ground looks like, I think Jesse's put up a really cool vlog of going to the game and gives a good insight of inside the ground. So for any of you that want to have a look at the ground, head on to the YouTube channel,
it's
which
awesome.
I'm sure you're probably already on if you're doing this.
If your team's over Easter saying, like, fly over and see them play, because it's one of the best stadiums in Australia.
Come visit the grandparents and go to the footy on Sunday.
Awesome, absolutely awesome. But we should probably get back to the game. And I don't think, like, in terms of the umpiring, I think was shocking, but taking that away from that kind of emotional, it was a loss, but it wasn't a terrible loss. I feel, and I'm kind of content with how it ran out. I'm surprised we were even that close when we had not really any midfield contributors at all.
Yeah.
Like almost very.
No, you went well.
Well, I don't know how. From watching the game, after that second quarter, it was just Sydney's midfield is so well drilled. It's just they get the ball, they know exactly where their players are, they know exactly where the runners are coming up from behind, and they can just get the ball out to them so easily, so quickly. It's incredible.
I honestly think the way we played, there were only a handful of teams that would have beaten us that night because we were patchy. But Sydney, we also played very well, and you could probably list maybe 4 or 5 teams that would have beaten us. The Richmond Sydneys, but I think we held our own and it's very encouraging. I think we're in a tough spot though because we have our next home game is Geelong. So we could start 0-3, which is a bit of I think we'll beat the Bulldogs, but just it is very possible we could start 0-3 still.
All right, boys.
We didn't get to talk about Nanui.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, mate.
Right.
He's back.
Yeah.
First game.
I was going to ask, how do you reckon he went? Because I saw bits of the game, and most of the time I saw Lysette was rucking, so I don't know if it was just a time management thing.
He changes the game.
He was unreal.
It was absolutely unreal seeing him out there.
2 goals off the back of his own hard work in the last minute. He nailed that guy holding the ball in the pocket, kicked the goal, went back with 30 seconds to go, grabbed it out of the ruck and kicked it to Lacroix, who marked and goal.
He's a mental player. You see him, watching him in real life, it just is everywhere. Gets the ruck. He's just an incredible presence around the ball.
I'd say that's in the top 25% of his games. Yeah. That was a very good performance for him. Yeah. That was, and he played 67% game time or something small. So
and came back for a very serious knee injury. And it's very funny how Gary Lyon all of a sudden thinks he's a good player. Also, it's funny.
And back to an earlier discussion. Sorry, quickly the dual ruck.
Sorry about that. Camera just went off again. Bush, you were about to say something.
I was just going to quickly say, because you guys have the dual ruck, Lysette, Nick Nat. Neither of them, Nick Nat is a bit equipped to bear forward. And I was just going to say quickly, Freo should look at that for Sean Darcy and Sandy just quickly, just to bring my team back into it.
Sorry, just what are you saying? So play 2 number 1 rucks?
Yeah. Because it's worked pretty well for you guys, I'd say, largely, even though it's a smaller sample size because Nick Nat's...
We got no JK, which I think is a factor. So I think Lysette in particular can rest forward and be that large key presence. If we have JK in the team too, it might be harder.
I don't think we'll ever go into a game with only Nanui playing the ruck.
God,
we'd have to have... But, other teams do have players again, Jack Darling's name keeps coming out. If he could play ruck or something like that, let's have a more mobile...
Sean Griggs doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's only 6'3", but I think he's shorter than Darling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think he's 189 even. I actually looked it up for Greg. It was
crazy.
I think Lysette he also didn't have a... Well, he kind of missed all season last week as well, so he didn't have a very good game on the weekend. I thought he was a bit underwhelming.
I thought he battled hard, but he wasn't very polished, But anyway.
All right, guys, moving on. In two nights, that's all we have to wait now until the next game. And it's the grand final rematch, so we have to talk about this. So I want to get a tip from you guys. So, Busher, who are you having in the grand final replay? It's at Adelaide.
Okay. Ooh, this is a toughie. I'm gonna go a bit of a knee jerk based on round 1 and say Richmond. Because Richmond are in pretty good form. They've showed a lot in the preseason. They've showed they haven't had a bit of a we won the flag, we can chill out for a bit. Round 1, they came out strong. Adelaide's had a few more question marks.
Okay. Louis?
Yes, it's a real hard one. Hey,
I'd love it to be a close Adelaide win. I think it'll be a good game, definitely. I think Richmond will win.
I'm thinking Richmond by 3 points. It's gonna be.
Richmond, I think, are actually an okay Adelaide Oval team. I think they beat Port there last year.
I think
which is a fairly okay effort. Some teams just don't play certain grounds well.
Yeah.
So for them to already have chalked up a win against the top 5 team last year, it's not a bad effort.
Teams that play don't grounds well. West Coast at the MCG.
Fremantle at Adelaide.
I was about to
say. Fair enough. Fair play.
And Subiaco Oval. No, just kidding.
Good thing that's not on home ground.
True. It should be.
Jesse?
I'm thinking Richmond. I think just a little bit too strong in the end, a little bit tougher. But I think it'll be a good game, not riding Adelaide off at all.
Yeah. Fair call. I'm going Richmond as well.
Yeah, if there was a couple of less question marks with Adelaide, I'd jump on them, but there's just a couple too many question marks with Adelaide at the moment.
If Taylor Walker and Lynch are back, I think that might make a big difference to them, but I don't think it'll be enough. That's my view.
Okay, and also we've got Carlton and GWS both looking to back up really good performances.
Gold Coast.
Gold
Coast, yeah. So yeah, Carlton and Gold Coast, they both.
Did we even talk about the Gold Coast game?
No, we didn't. Well, we didn't talk about every game
as well in St Kilda.
I didn't want to talk about every game in this podcast, but
nobody cares.
But I actually think have we talked about every? We didn't talk about St Kilda Brisbane either. But Gold Coast, yes, I think under Dew, I think this might be the first time they've won in round one. I could be wrong on that. Oh, they might actually have beaten Brisbane before. I think they beat Brisbane. Maybe. Yeah. But anyway, they've made an encouraging start off probably what is the easiest fixture they could have had.
That game was a storm. There were actually both teams got offered to postpone the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because it was just so shockingly bad. I don't know how much you can take away from that, except that North Melbourne lost to the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
which is
I sense there's a little bit different, something different about the Suns this year. I don't think their team is actually the best 22 is stronger. I don't think so, but I feel like under Dew they've just got a bit of stank about them in a good way.
A little bit older. All those young guys are reaching mature ages.
They're enjoying their football as well. They enjoyed the win.
Even a little like Hawthorn where we thought they'd be a bit under, but just Alistair Clarkson just coached the bejeebers out of them.
It's early days, but I think it's going to be interesting this week because Carlton seemed like they're exceeding expectations. Just off one game, admittedly, but it was a pretty encouraging loss. And them against the Gold Coast will be interesting because they're kind of similar, I think, in their rebuilds. I think maybe the Carlton have a little bit more talent, but it'll be really good to see.
Gold Coast still got Aaron Hall and Piers Hanley to come back in, which is two really good ins. So won't have Hanley this week, but I think Aaron Hall's in line to play.
Interesting, yep.
This is at the G?
Etihad.
Etihad, okay. And Gold Coast just played in the rain in Cairns.
I think it's hard to go against Carlton in this one.
Yeah, me too. Yep. Yeah. A couple of other things to look forward to next week. We got the Dockers playing their first home game at Optus. I think you boys will really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Will they win? I'm not too sure. Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully we enjoy it.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True. Are you a member?
Yeah.
So you're going to go. That's right. Yeah.
I was saying before.
Yeah. Cool.
We got some pretty decent seats.
Yeah. And two potential blockbuster games next week as well. Sydney Port could be top 5 or 6 teams, you'd think. And I think it's in Sydney. And the other one is Easter Monday, Geelong Hawthorn. I reckon that could be an absolute monster game. Hawthorn, I think, are actually a sneaky chance.
Quick tips, boys. Those two games: Port Sydney, Geelong Hawks. I want 5-second answers.
So really stretch it out.
Sydney, Geelong.
Sydney. Do some harmonies.
Sydney, Geelong.
Sydney as well.
I'll go out on a limb and say Sydney Hawks.
That's what I'm sitting to. I think Hawks might just get the better of them in the big stage.
Oh, that's good. I'll get Geelong just be different then.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So we always agreeing with each other, Louis. It seems to be a common theme.
That's great. Such a good couple.
Exactly. Think alike. Exactly.
We haven't been right once.
All right, boys. Look, we've probably gone on as long as we want to go on this one, and I have to get home and edit this.
No, is that a euphemism?
I'm going to edit one out, boys. I'm going to watch some Elliot Yeo highlights from the weekend and edit one out.
Yeah, well.
Sandpaper his boat.
And pull on the walls.
Get that duct tape and tamper with your balls.
Oh, man.
Tamper with your balls.
Sorry, Bush, I stole that joke from you.
Just like Joycey stole we should switch out this. Oh wait, you didn't fully steal, but I was to say switch out a few of the Aussie players for a few boat painters who are used to sanding and stuff. They're pretty good with the old sandpaper. They could whip up a nice ball or two.
Wait, when did I steal that joke?
Is that a joke?
You sort of half started the boat sanding thing. You didn't fully go into depth like I did.
Yeah.
You didn't go
I
into
really
depth
am a fan of those boat people, hey.
And on that note, I think we'll finish up. Thank you.
Joking, I love it.
Thank you for watching if you're still here. Cheers.